And it's when I realized that
now everybody scream enough respect to the X. Enough respect given.
What's up, YouTube? It's NG, the Neon X, and I'm back. Today I'm into my Surface Duo. It's been 2 months. In those 2 months, I have experienced a lot of pros and cons. So this is not a 2-month review of my Surface Duo. So the Surface Duo, honestly, I've been trying to make this video for over a month now. I'm honestly not sure where it's going to go. Even before I did this take, I did a few others before. Again, just talking about the device. But I feel like I've said so much about it since its release that there isn't really much more to say. But at the same time, I know I've experienced so much with it that there has to be more to say. But how exactly do I say it? That's the issue that is plaguing me right now. I don't write these things down when I do them. I just speak off the top of the head, my feeling at the time towards whatever I am discussing. And it's worked out pretty well so far. I have a few hundred, 100 plus videos on my channel, and most of them were recorded just like this. Hey, I want to talk about that. And I go in and I talk about that, and I share, and I've somehow found an audience for what I call my rants. But this rant is very special to me because it's about this device, the Surface Duo. Now, the Duo has become pretty much my main device. I know when I first got the device, I did vlogs and I did certain posts on my social media sites where I proclaimed this to be a very expensive secondary device. And in some ways it still is, to me and others. But for the most part, the trend that I've seen, even with myself, is the Duo is slowly taking over the roles of almost all my other devices. I no longer even have a LG V60. Now that's not completely in part to the Duo. It was a combination of the Duo and the Galaxy S20 FE. But even the thought that I could be without the V60 came from the Duo doing such a good job at wielding, or allowing me to wield, dual screens. And not just wield the dual screens, but wield them with the same pen that I used to use on the V60. It's when I realized that, oh man, the Duo was actually doing its job, or as the slogan for the device says, do one more. It was really doing its one more on my main devices. I found that there was really no device that I had that had to be with me at any particular time, because the Duo in its own way could fit the mold and the use case of that device. I mean, it took a while for me to not to see it, but to accept that, because I'm a man who just loves tech. I have multiple phones. I like to collect. I just like to have a plethora of different items in any particular category to fit certain moods in that category that I may have. And that want to collect expands into cell phones. So I have quite a few, at least what I consider quite a few, what my family might consider quite a few. And even though I have so many Windows phones and Android phones and one or two iPhones, once I started to use the Duo, the need, well, I guess it was never really a need, but what was once a requirement to have at least two devices on me to feel secure in what I was doing slowly began to fade away. Not that I don't still carry two devices, but it's not as, or I don't feel it to be a requirement as much. And that really is because of my use of the Surface Duo. Because of the two screens, it pretty much takes the place of two devices, and I truly feel that's how my brain began to see it. It was saying, NG, you are used to having two devices, whether it be my Windows phone and my iPhone, or well, I would say the S20 FE, but that's doing the recording right now, or even the Fold. I mean, all of these devices, regardless of if they could open up like the Fold can to make this huge canvas, or flip up like my Z Flip that I used to have, they all just became one screen. And so the need to have two screens was just always prevalent. It was always there. Because while I was doing one thing with one device, I was doing something on the other device. It was always how I did things. Then when the LG V60 came along, it offered me the same type of experience, but the experience just wasn't as good as the Duo. And it's not because of the phone. I still love the V60. Truthfully, one of the best ones I've ever used. And it almost became a favorite, though I think I still like the V20 more just because of the build and the extra screen up top. But overall, the V60 is probably the super phone of the year. It just did everything. But there are certain things it just didn't do well. So when that phone came along and it had the two screens, one screen was a case. And I like being able to use the case and all that, but I found that for the most part, that case screen, I didn't use it as much. And it was mainly because of the distribution of weight. When you held the phone, all the weight was here. So all your writing was being done here, while you're looking at something there. I didn't use the V60 with its case in a vertical fashion, like a tablet. I mostly use it with this case when I turn it horizontally to play games, because one screen could be the game controller, and the other screen was the viewing area of the game, or to type something out, with the keyboard being at the bottom and what I'm typing being at the top. Or in the case of when I edit, because I actually learned to edit quite well on that phone in Power Director. You had your timeline at the bottom and the viewing area at the top. When in that horizontal mode, the V60 worked wonders. But that was the work mode. Outside of getting work done, or outside of that mode, that screen didn't find much use for me. Even when one of the app creators made an app to allow it to peer apps. That was one of the last apps that I did get for it. You would open an app, and in that app would be the pair of apps you want. Then you would press that and get two apps side by side. Because of the narrow screens of the V60, it just wasn't as useful and immersive as the Duo had become. So when it came time to, choose, or when it came time to possibly exchange the phone for a different device, I wasn't as hesitant because the Duo had already taken its place as far as my dual screen use. And when it came to the writing aspect, yes, the LG V60 had a few little tricks up its sleeve. You were able to write on the lock screen. You were able to quickly pull up the Quick Note app and jot your notes down. I found that very useful. But I found ways and means to get a similar experience on this. So when I really thought about it, the only thing that the V60 really had that the Duo just couldn't compete with was the 32-bit DAC, which just offered amazing sound. But I could replicate that with an accessory that works with all other phones. It's the Vio BTR5, I think it's called. I think it's the Vio BTR5, and it allows your phone to send the signal to the device, and then the device would allow for the high fidelity sound to be pumped into whatever speakers you have plugged into it. So if you had your high-end speakers, like I do have a few of those, I would play them on my V20, my V60, and I have a wonderful audio experience. That adapter will allow the Duo to create that same kind of experience. So with that, armed with the knowledge that I won't be losing too many aspects that I actually use with the V60, I did decide to jump it to the iPhone 12 mini. If you guys don't know what Jump is, it's a program on T-Mobile where you're able to swap out your phone up to 3 times per your lease. And it's useful to me. It allows me to try out interesting phones as they come out. And I really thought that the V60 would have been my last jump, because it really is a super phone. But the Duo came around and showed me, hey, the V60 is a super phone, but I have the better experience when it comes to doing what you like to do. And that's what did it. It took 2 months of me using the Duo in conjunction with all these other devices for me to see that the Duo really can and was replacing my other devices for my daily use. I mean, I still use my other phones, don't get me wrong, but when I have 2 devices on me, or let's even put this here, when the Duo is around, when something is going on, I tend to grab the Duo now, more so than like the iPhone. I guess that's not a very good use case, because I'm not really an Apple guy. I'm still getting used to doing, or how they do things on this device. But I'm very comfortable in using the Duo to do a lot of the more mundane tasks I used to relegate to what I consider my primary device. making calls and text and all of that, a quick search and all that, yeah, I just pull out the Duo and do it, because the Duo really does offer a unique experience in doing everyday tasks. And that's what I've come to appreciate about the device. Yes, a lot of people use it for work, and it is a great work device. Now, I know a lot of you, or let me not say a lot of you, right? Now, I know a lot of you first joined my channel or even found out about what I do here when I first saw the Duo in store, and I began to just record the Duo in store when no one else could show how the Duo actually worked. And I thank you for joining me on this journey that I am on. The Duo, like you, joining me on this journey of mobile discovery. The Duo itself is a journey, or it's on a journey as well. It's what I've come to call a journey device. We all have a pretty good idea of where it's going to end up, or where we like it to end up. That's probably the best thing to say. But the journey is what is actually interesting. Seeing how Microsoft and other app developers utilize what is available to them to enhance the use of the Duo itself. But since then, like I said, since the phone has come out, I have continued to deep dive into the use of the Duo, and I've made tips and tricks videos that just expand and enhance the use case of the Duo itself. Because since its release, the Duo has evolved into an almost entirely new beast of a machine. Microsoft themselves, they have released 2 official updates since the device has come out. We're now waiting on the December update. I've been hearing rumors around December 10th for the unlocked devices, and if history is to repeat itself, less than a week for my AT&T model here. But when I'm online, I go to Reddit, I go to XDA, I go wherever I go on Instagram and Discord, all of these things, and I'm just hunting something interesting that might be useful to me, or a method to do, or a method to execute an idea I have to get something different done on the Duo I just can't figure out for myself. And if you've watched any of my videos, my tips and tricks, you've seen how many adaptations can be made to the Duo to enhance your experience. Something as simple as being able to change the background to a animated one that is way more immersive on the Duo than on some other devices. Finding ways to make the Duo mimic other devices as well, whether it be the double tap to take a screenshot, or the triple tap to bring up the note app like I have on mine. Whether it's ways to boost the volume, ways to flip around the screen orientation to better suit your needs at the time. The Duo is just so transformative in everything that it does. It really does allow you to create the perfect experience for yourself, but you need to give it time. You need to be on this journey with the device to fully experience that potential. You cannot just get the Duo and expect it to work for you as is. It's not going to. You're going to come across bugs and hiccups and all kinds of things, because like I said, the Duo is not perfect even now. But with time, you can make the Duo into what you need it to be, whatever kind of flow you might be in, whether it be your workflow or your casual flow, your gaming flow, your movie flow, your game flow. The Duo itself can itself can transform itself to fit whatever needs you need to, if you just give it the time and space, and even a little help with an accessory or two to be that device for you. And now that can't be said for, as far as I know, any other recent device. Even things like the Fold. This is my Fold, Galaxy Fold, not the Z Fold 2. I didn't bother with the Z Fold 2. I went for the Duo instead. But having a small screen that opens up into a big screen is just that. It's a small screen that opens up into a big screen. It's a larger phone, but with more usable space. And though you are able to use both screens as you might see fit, it does work in its own way. But this isn't this. It's just more immersive here. More screen to look at, more screen to work with. And even though this can manipulate itself in its own way, you can press the button here and flip it around top to bottom. That's all good and dandy, but it's still not the same as doing the same thing with this. Just more space and more ability. You can angle the screen so it's of better use to you in case you want to write something down or whatever it is. This is a large screen with cut in half. So the use case is just more immersive and more intuitive with the Surface Duo. And it might take, or it took me a while to really see how useful the device was. I was never against it, ever. I always knew that it was a very unique device. But after using it for 2 months and using it in conjunction with my other devices to really have that compare and contrast experience, I can honestly say the Duo is probably one of the best devices to come out in recent years to help push an evolution in mobile technology. I mean, foldables are great. My channel is mostly based around different foldables that come out. But the Duo, though technically a foldable, is so much more than the other foldables that are available. The dual screen sub for the Duo just makes it so much more. And I won't lie, I like where this journey is taking me. Maybe one day in the next or third generation of the Duo, I won't need or even want multiple devices. If they can bring out a Duo that has all of the protections of the more common phones, it always has the S Pen or the Smart Pen writing done great. give it a headphone jack or somehow build in the Bluetooth hi-fi tech into the phone so that it can power more high-end devices somehow. If you think, let's put everything from the V60, and that's really what it comes down to. Put all the hardware from the V60, from the 8K cameras, or at least better cameras, the waterproofing, the high-end audio, maybe the 120 hertz display, though to me that's not neither here or there. I'm not particularly moved by 120 on a phone. If it's there, great. If it's not just as great, it doesn't really bother me. But throw in all those features into the device, but yet still keep it sleek and slim and useful. I will no longer have a need for multiple devices, because as it stands now, every device I have fits a certain groove, fits a certain use case. But the Duo in its current form can, in its own way, fit each of those use cases too. And that's saying a lot for someone who uses a particular phone, a particular situation. For me to say that there is one phone I could bring that would cover almost every situation well enough that I wouldn't feel like it's impeding my work, that's saying a lot. And that, to people, is the Surface Duo. So, like I said, this is not a 2-month review of the Surface Duo. This is just a recap of my experience with the Surface Duo during this time. If you feel the same, or if you feel any different, any questions, comments, curse words, feel free to leave a comment below. I always try to answer all of them if it's possible. So with that said, my name is NG, the Neon X, and the Surface Duo, 2 months in, this is what I'm into.